The term military analyst is not a legally protected term. It's not like doctor. It's more like economist. You know, any asshole can start calling themselves one and fart out a vaguely plausible opinion on the current situation.
I had some notes on my phone, which is charging back. Don't worry, I'm a professional, damn it. I'm a professional. Get this situated. Why isn't it? God damn, just the minorest of things to get. All right, I think I'm all situated. So the story goes, this thing called, I tune into the Critical Drinker and It's a Gundam and Endymion and all that gang. And blasting onto the scene in the wake of the utter failure of a video game called The Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. This is a AAA game development, I guess $250 million worth of a budget. I don't know, multiple hundreds of millions. And it turned out to be just utter woke trash. And it later comes to find out that there is a company of the many companies and people involved in this flop of a game called Sweet Baby Inc. And I'll read it for you. I wanted to go to their website and read it from it. Approach. Sweet Baby Inc. is an inclusion-focused narrative and consultation company. We're building a team and a process in the hopes of building a kinder, more sustainable industry at every scale. Whether you need a fresh pair of eyes or a guiding hand, we're here to work with you. Where was it? We begin all hands-on review, shares thoughts, feelings. Okay, all right. I'm not going to go look for this in the entire website. But it turns out this is basically a DEI consulting company that consults on narration. Like, what the hell is that? It's called storytelling. And when you look further into the characters, which you could go watch a bunch of other videos if you really care about the details, is just a bunch of woke, ideological, traitist-based ideologues. And they're cashing in, I'd say somewhat cleverly so, where every corporation and their mother is, oh my God, oh, we might get sued, oh, we can't offend group of people X, whichever one it is, whether it happens to be not straight, female, minority, race, you name it. And they kind of come in and then they help. They're not even programmers or developers. They're completely talentless as far as I'm concerned. They just come in and help you with your story of a video game. Like if you're creating a video, whatever project, and sometimes video games have a story. And apparently these people will come in and help make it that everyone is a black, lesbian, transsexual, whatever, so that you don't run afoul. Maybe you get some ESG points on your score, and then you get yourself a little bit of a discount on the interest rate or some equity investment or whatever, right? So that's kind of the role they play. Well, the more and more they dig into these people, they've said some pretty horrific things, whether it's on Twitter, some rather bigoted things. Shock, guess which way it goes. What do you mean there's no white males in your... What? They killed Batman? Oh. And then when you look at their catalog, you find out all the different video games or movies this company has worked on. All these video games have flopped. All of them have done what I believe it's Starfield. I don't know. I'm not that big of a video game nerd. But you look back at this one company, there are others that do the same jerk-off bullshit. Narrative storytelling consultants, like wholly made up, specialty Batman. Anyway, for those of us who are normal, we say, yeah, you brought in hatred, you brought in actual bigotry. It doesn't matter if it's the approved bigotry. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was younger, I was forced to be Christian because my dad was a pastor, and I would burn in hell if I didn't believe in the pedophile in the sky with the long beard who looked like a hippie. And so even though I was a young kid and we pray regularly at the school we went to, because it was a religious school, even in sometimes where it would be normal, like, okay, this is the social situation outside of the school, where maybe you would pray. It's still, even though I was a Christian, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Is this the right time and place to say a prayer? Is this the right time and place to mention God or Jesus or the hippie with the long hair in the sky? And even though I was for being Christian, it didn't seem the right time. You know what I'm saying? You have this instinct. Is this really the time? This is a little bit tactless, isn't it? Same thing, even if you're a Republican or a Libertarian. Just so you libertarians know, at no time at a social gathering is it acceptable to mention, one, you're libertarian, and two, do you know our God and Father, the evils of central banking? You probably shouldn't bring those up at any point in time, socially speaking. And this is the exact same thing. This is any normal person would have an upchuck or revulsion to when you bring politics into a video game or a movie and all that. And all of us normal people know that. And you would probably be just as uneased if there was a heavy-handed conservative or Republican message. Or what if all the villains were black males and they were stupid? And all the heroes were white males, and all the villains were lesbian. We just flipped the script. It would be unnerving because, like, yeah, okay, I'm on that side, I guess, but this is not the time and a place for politics or religion or gender or traits of any kind. And so the most recent one that Sweet Baby worked on is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which someone says that's too long of a title. Never mind. It flopped. People dug in, found this company there, found out anything this company touches more or less is a money-losing operation. And it doesn't seem like it's slowing down. It doesn't seem like the people who are in the video game or Hollywood or otherwise content creation industries are getting it. These companies are losing billions when you add it up. Billions, that's with a B, for those of you who went to public school or have a liberal arts college degree. Really, honestly, you could ask most college graduates, what is more, a billion or a trillion? I think half of them they wouldn't get it right. They wouldn't. They don't know the difference between a million, a billion, and a trillion. They really don't. They really don't. Anyway, these companies are the reality of losses. The reality of how much damage they're doing to their own brand, to their own names of people who work on it and the company they work for. You start to wonder, like, Disney lost over $1 billion on movies last year. $1 billion. Kathleen Kennedy's still there. What in the ever-living fuck, Pat, man? And when you're losing 50 million, 100 million, $250 million, I believe Indiana Jones lost, not to mention in the public opinion, you're embarrassed. They don't realize it. They're in the echo chamber of Hollywood. What an utter group of incompetent, talentless fools and morons. Not to mention bigots and actual discriminatory bigots, whatever the trait might be. You think, when are they going to wait? When are they going to get it? And then you got to ask, okay, so I got this idea of the 98% complete plane, where most people in the United States, especially, you'll do 98% of the job. You'll cut corners. And in cutting the 2% of corners, you pretty much ruined the entire project. Behooving the question, why'd you put 98% of the effort in if you weren't going to do it right? And it's kind of the same thing here. Why did whoever developed, whatever parent company was in charge of creating and bringing to market, in this particular instance, Kill the Justice League, the Suicide Squad? Why? I have a question. Why did you bring on a company like Sweet Baby? Why do you bring in directors, in the case of the Marvels, or not even the Marvel? Let me give you a better example. Robin Hood, this was a Canadian developer. Why did you bring in someone who just obviously has an axe to grind with white people? Why did you bring a director schmutz, or he's got some lame ass wannabe rapper name? The Blue Beetle director, he has a hard-on hatred for colonialists. Why do you bring these, and Sweet Baby would be another thing. Why do you need a narration consultant? Why do you need storytellers? And then you look at these people, no offense to young people, but you don't have the experience. These are pretty young people. Clever, very, very, I'd say smart in one way where it's like, hey, let's make some money off of, it's essentially a shakedown. Hey, if we threaten, I'm not accusing them of threatening them, but society-wise, the current cultural zeitgeist is, you better not be racist or sexist or homo, any kind of bigotry involved. And here comes like, well, we'll help you consult so you all have plausible deniability. It's like insurance bordering a protection racket, like a protection racket, like you got to pay us for protection. And it kind of is. It's like having a DEI department within your corporation, even though, look at Facebook. How many times has the DEI chief, the chief officer of diversity and inclusion, turned around and sued their employer for discrimination? You're inviting vampires into your thing. But I could see that maybe from a plausible deniability. We have all this training, sexual. Well, we did it. It's not. You can't sue the company. I see it from a legal protection racket standpoint. But you brought in a bunch of young children to consult you about your storytelling. And it'd be one thing if it's insurance, or it's like, yeah, we hired these people, we took it under advisement, but then we wrote a good thing. You actually implemented, seems almost wholly what they recommended. Like you let them have the reins. The director of the Marvels, which, by the way, did you know she's the first woman of color on a Tuesday who's left-footed to direct a Marvel's movie that launched on an odd date or whatever other fucking dumbed down affirmative action pandered first two type of qualifications. You gave a young and experienced director how much of a budget? How much? And even I had to ask, what? We're talking $250 million budgets in some instances. Are you nuts? Are you that dumb? Are you that spineless to tell them, thanks for your advice? We appreciate it. Thank you. No, okay, now go away, baby Jesus, or Sweet Baby, or whatever the hell you're called. And so as an economist, I got curious. Everyone keeps saying, oh, you don't understand, Clary. They get funding. They get really low interest rates if they get their ESG score up. So as an actual favor, because no one else apparently is doing it, to all the creative content industries, whether it's Hollywood or video game or music, I don't know, books, whatever. I went and did a little bit of research to get a real ballpark estimate of what the ROI of diversity and inclusion is, or ESG. What is your rate of return on these things? Because I'm like, okay, if you get a significant interest rate savings, and then you throw in other things, you'll commonly notice that sometimes they get a reimbursement from the UK or Canada. Different countries and states will pay you. Like they'll give you a kickback if you film in their place because they want the money to go to the local economy. You can factor those things in, but oh, sure enough, the internet goes out. Of course, hang on, just hang on. Diversity and inclusion at Cox Communication. I bet. Are we coming back? All right. So I wanted to go and do some quick number calculations. When I was a good economist, when I gave a shit and was idealistic and hopeful, and maybe people would consider my research and numbers, I would do a much more thorough analysis. And then I realized they're all just a bunch of cocksucking, political motivated assholes with your own opinions that are never going to be convinced otherwise. So I just did some quick back of napkin calculations. So first I want to figure out, okay, maybe they're saving so much money on the interest rate that it could float it. So I wanted to see what kind of interest rates you get with an ESG loan. And I found it. Hang on. And here we go. This was research done by the Frankfurt School, which is a Marxist organization. Just straight up, go look it up. So they don't have if anything, they have a bias aligned with me and the point I'm making. And the research done by this guy, and he did some pretty good research, I'll admit that. Impact on interest rates. Sustainable companies are expected to have improved access to financing. However, ESG aspects are currently not adequately considered in the interest rate. See figure 1. This is among other reasons since ESG aspects are limitedly reflected in the credit rating due to regulatory requirements, a lack of available data, and technical constraints. Furthermore, banks currently have no significant refinancing advantages via capital markets. As part of a strategically driven orientation towards sustainability, large banks offer particularly sustainable companies tailored ESG loans, enabling these companies to achieve non-material interest rate discounts of around 2.55 basis points, i.e. only 0.025 or 0.05%. So 1/20th of 1%. You're not even getting a full, you're not even getting half. You're getting 1/20th and sometimes 1/50th of 1% off. It's negligible. And then he goes on to show some charts here and showing that short version, you don't get an interest rate discount if you're compliant with ESG requirements. I don't know what you get. Maybe the bank's more likely to lend to you, but it doesn't save anything on your income statement. Your interest rates are basically the same, almost identically the same. I mean, pennies. And so I was like, okay, it's not the interest rate. Well, maybe Disney has a really good deal. Maybe, and I want to use Disney as an example because they're a publicly traded firm. I could look up their debts. I said, all right, well, how much of an interest rate would they need to get in order for them to sustain their $1 billion loss in 2023? And so I looked them up, and Disney has about $48 billion in long-term debt, meaning it accrues interest. And so they're paying an interest rate on that. And if they were to refinance it or get new financing through ESG, let's say there's $48 billion. So let's say you got a full 0.5%, not 1/25th or 1/50th of one. You got half, Disney's interest rate was 5.5. Now they get to 5%. Well, on $48 billion, that saves you $240 million. Right? I highly doubt, well, one, there isn't the profit margin for 0.5% change because the bank's got to borrow at a certain percent. Then they lend out at another percent, depending on the risk. There's a premium. Payday lenders, you have a significant increase. Credit cards, you have a significant increase, but not a blue chip stock like Disney. All right. So a bank would lend at 5%. If you got a full half of an interest rate point off, that's pretty good. So if you got a full half off of 1 point, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it isn't financing. Trust me, that saves you $240 million. That comes nowhere near the cost of the losses. It comes nowhere near covering the losses that Disney incurred last year. If you do 1%, that's we're going increments of 24. 1%, that's 480 million. 2%, 2 full percentage points off. That's unheard of. I doubt no bank, no fund financier is going to give Disney, let alone anyone else, a full 2 points off of their interest rate. But let's say that even if you were to have this impossible scenario, you still wouldn't come close. 960. I mean, you come close to the losses Disney incurred, but even with 2 full points off of your overall, if you were to refinance at ESG overall and you get 2 full points, you still wouldn't cover the losses. And I hate to, you think this is why there's no such thing as a financial genius. I know you all think, well, they're really smart at Wall Street. No, they're not. They're really smart at corporate executive types. No, they're not. I just, with some very simple back and napkin economics, I showed you all of the creative industry, Hollywood, video games, or whatever. I don't care what deal, if you're getting one at all on your interest rates, I don't care what deal you're getting, it is not compensating you for your losses, creating an inferior product. This shit, and that's what it is, what Hollywood and video game industry, all of you, what you have been producing for about the past 5, maybe 10 years, depends on how you want to go. This woke and not woke low grade, okay? We're talking the woke and low grade shit you have been putting out is you're not making it up on the financing or the back end. You're not. Based on the research done by the Frankfurt School, you're not getting any benefit of ESG financially speaking. You're bearing the full losses of these. And you got to understand there's arguably three problems you all have in the creative industry. You don't have to listen to me. I don't care. You're the one. I mean, I used to get pissed off at Disney, and I sat and I thought about, like, could I have caused them $1 billion in costs myself? Like, no matter what I did on the internet, I had a hate boner for Disney, and I spent an entire year taking down Disney. There's no way I could have caused more damage than they did to themselves. So you're not going to, I think they're ideologically driven. That's the only thing, is they're in this echo chamber. Most people in Hollywood and the video games, they're leftists. Leftists do not understand basic finance. We're not talking anything complicated. Like, you need to bring in more than you spend. It's like personal budgets. You just tack on a lot more zeros. Nobody likes politics or religion talked at the dinner table. Whether it's conservative politics, leftist politics, racial politics, gender politics, nobody likes it. Knock it the fuck off. I know you have nothing else in your lives except for trait-based politics because the new guard has taken over. I know the under 40 something, that's all you have. You're truly worthless people. The only thing you value is what skin color are you and what your plumbing is, and maybe what type of plumbing you like to lick behind closed doors, or maybe on the internet because you're proud and in charge, or whatever the fuck it is. All right. But at the end of the day, you are worthless people who only have traits you were born with. You didn't earn, you didn't get them. It's your parents who had sex that determined that. There was no work put into it. That's the only thing you got. And go to Sweet Baby Incorporated. That's it. All they are is they're just standing in a mirror worshiping themselves. That's it. All right. So, one, people don't like politics of any stripe in the Cheerios. Two, because modern day people who are in charge, the under 40 somethings who are the creatives and all that, because all you had, your entire value system is based off of the way you were born, which is the opposite of what Dr. Martin Luther King said. You have no skills. You have no value. And it consequently shows in the absolute shit you send over. There is only one instance of something that is woke, but is also quality. And that would be Invincible. Fuck Amber. Fuck Amber with a stick. Now, she's a fictional character. I don't actually mean in the real world. But the character who was wholly made just to have a black woman in there, and then the true insult, if you think about it, to black women everywhere, we're like, oh yeah, she wants to go to this college because it has a good diversity and social justice program. How about we raise the standard for, well, women everywhere, but black women in particular? Maybe she's an engineer, not a generic NPC woke piece of shit. Oh, and by the way, she's making out with the hero. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. The overweight black girl's making out with the hero Asian guy. Okay, tell me you're woke without telling me you're gone woke. Even with that turd in the punch bowl, the punch is still pretty good because there's an actual story. There's actual character development. One of the best things I thought about Invincible was following Invincible's mom, who, not necessarily one of the main characters, but just watching what's going through her, watching her suffer because she's lost her family and her husband. Finds out her husband's a evil, maniacal, genocidal maniac. Meanwhile, I was the hero of the world before. Just watching her, what she has to go, that took talent, that took time. And man, some of the characters that develop, it's like awesome. Like the guy who has like all the brains consolidated in one through time. Okay, cool. There's the nerdy assistant with the glasses who doesn't know that he's cloned, but he's slowly figuring it out. It's good. That somebody, not you, somebody had talent. Perhaps the original writers of the comic book, no doubt. They took the time and the skill and the effort they put in this thing. I'll explain. Maybe it deserves its own video. Almost has this thing called work. We'll explain that topic later. Not just Vag, skin color, great and amazing. Make movie, I do. It's an advanced concept. I'll explain that someday. Maybe if someone pays me. Work. No, there's no ARH. Just work. But that's about the best you can do. And even then, people are like, get Amber out of here. And then the natural thing is to blame your entire audience of being bigots of some sort or another. Fuck off with that shit. So there's no politics. Have a good story. And I will say, they call it hero movie fatigue. I think we need a larger net to capture what it is it's called a regurgitation fatigue. Sequels, prequels, dequels, hequels, multiverse. We're just running out of shit. Look, if you're too lazy to come up with original ideas, don't bother. You don't have to and what's going to happen, Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know if she's too arrogant to realize this. All you got is your legacy when you die. That's it. That's all it is. Fine. She's got lots of money. She's going to go down as one of the biggest jokes in all of literature, cinematic, art history. They'll say, wow, this is the woman who destroyed two of the biggest franchises of American culture, American history, theatrical, whatever you want to call it. And that's what she'll be known for. I don't care how rich she is. I don't care how much money she makes. That's it. She's a joke. Like we all don't have I'm not saying this is comparable, but we all don't have a very fond view of the guy with the funny mustache who spoke German, right? We don't have a fond view of the guy who flew planes into the buildings, right? I'm not saying this is on that level, but she's going to be the butt end of a joke. She's going to be like, what is it, Nero fiddling on the roof, or was it Caligula? Like just an incredibly incompetent douchebag of a person. Don't correct my Roman history. I don't know if it was Caligula or Nero. Don't. There was somebody who fiddled while Rome burned. Another one who was just a complete fuck up. Kathleen Kennedy, her legacy is complete fuck up. And all of you are going to be complete fuck ups as well. Because no one gives a shit about your politics. I know you don't care about losses. I highly doubt most people in the creative industries understand the concept of losses. And you and your little echo chamber may think this is really good. Oh, look, you made this shit statue. Everyone outside Hollywood is looking like, that's a shit statue. That sucks. Who's the idiots who did that? And one thing you guys go to, because again, you have no skills, you have no creativity, is you just go and regurgitate the same thing. What are we on? Spider-Man 47? Madam Web, are you fucking joking me? You're going to do another Captain America? Are you saying out of the 340 million Americans alive today, or some are kids, so perhaps not, but out of the millions of people in the United States that have written stories or have ideas, out of all those brains, you guys either can't come up with a new idea or you can't find someone with a story and pay them for it? I got great movie ideas. How do you know it's great? Well, it's better than this shit Doctor Strange comes back and Robert Downey Jr. and then we get Miss Marvel and the multiverse happened and everything is the slate is white clean, but this time Falcon is a lesbian Hispanic Jew and yeah, I think just a simple concept where I write 5 bullet points, I could come up with a better movie than that shit. Anyone can. And so I don't know who my audience is. I know the creatives aren't capable of doing this. And I don't exactly know how the structure is, but I know there's the people who are making the movie. And I don't mean the light people or the graphic, the programmers. I'm talking the creatives. I know you people are leftist ideologues. You're talentless, and all you know is my vagina or penis and skin color and face or whatever. whatever it is, that's all you have. Okay, we've seen that one trick pony done 1 billion times now. I don't know what a studio is. I don't know if there's someone in charge of a studio or director. I know directors just seem to be adult children who want to, like, Cleopatra was black. Like, that just, that money really could have gone to help some genuinely poor kids go to a trade school or college. Like, literally the amount of money, Disney, $1 billion could have helped out some genuinely needing people. Fuck me. I'm just an economist. What do I know? But somewhere up the food chain, and I don't know if it's Wall Street, but you guys are a bunch of dumbasses got caught with a dildo in your ass with what? How many bank bailouts did we need now? By the way, for the normal people who have jobs, these guys aren't that bright. Oh, what do you mean? No more low interest rates. A lot of that's what's happening now too, by the way. But somewhere at the top of this financial food chain, someone's got to give a fuck and say, look, as far as my quick research tells me, you're not making any money. There's no savings. You don't even get a discount on your interest rate. And you're making a low quality shit product. Who's going to start giving a shit? I mean, now hang on. Let me show you how good of an economist I am. Take a look. I'm going to do a real quick calculation. Disney total equity. We're ignoring whether they could borrow money. Balance sheet. How much? Of course, we're going to make it really super value. Disney stock. Walt Disney's equity quarterly says 100 billion. Total, and maybe that's total cash. Cash equivalents, total cash. Cash on hand, December to 7 billion. Okay. I'm going to use their equity. Before Disney becomes insolvent, and this is being somewhat accountingly, it'd be a lot less than this, but not like tomorrow. Disney right now has 7 billion in cash. They could have 7 more years of a disastrous 2023 where they lose $1 billion a year. They could do this forever. And by the way, Disney still is a profitable corporation. Their theme parks make a lot of money. So they could keep going in perpetuity. In other words, the studio could run. But let's say there's fallout. Let's say people stop going to the Disney theme parks and the theme parks stop losing money. Just break even. Let's just say they start breaking even. There's enough equity in Disney, and we're ignoring financing things and all that. If they were to liquidate everything and keep on going, of course, once you start liquidating your capital assets, it'd be hard to continue. But just giving you, Disney could do this for a long time. Disney could be making woke movies at the rate it was doing in 2023, in theory, from an obscure accounting mathematics for about 100 years. I'd imagine I wouldn't surprise me if the government just would print money to bail out Disney. Like, keep on writing the woke propaganda shit. You're not officially an arm of the government. You're just Pravda. I couldn't totally see it, but Disney can do this forever. They can. And people like Nelson Peltz or whoever else owns all the different outlets. I don't know. Do you guys like making money? Or do you like losing money? Are you going to care at any point in time? And maybe we're at such I hate to use a Marxist term, late stage capitalist state that the people who have inherited the money from the actual empire builders are such, like, look at Mackenzie Bezos or whatever her name is now. I think she donated all this money, that billions of dollars she donated. It's like, you didn't earn that. Like, you're not reinvesting. Like, they don't care. They got the money. They're just like, whatever. No, keep making woke shit. Like, to burn through the rich people's capital, the trust fund baby's capital, because politics are more important. Look at Dean Wagenstein, I think is the guy. Dean Phillips, trust fund baby. He inherited the hell is the liquor giant that he inherited? It doesn't matter. Anyway, he doesn't care if things are productive or profitable or quality or efficient. He's got all the money in the world. And so perhaps these hedge fund managers, perhaps these estates, perhaps these ultra rich people, they don't care. It's more important that we have the right message. And inevitably, in enough time, the money will run out, inevitably. But it could be decades. Decades. I guarantee, let's just put it at that. Disney can do this shit for decades. And if that entire supply chain of owners all the way down to low rank employees are all of the leftist ideological bent, there's nothing you can do if the owners don't care. They're going to keep making Marxist, leftist, hate-based, genuinely bigoted shit. You guys aren't going to watch, but they're not going to care. They'll keep making shitty video games. You're still going to have ugly female characters on your video games. They're like, when are they going to learn? When's the market? I don't think they're not subjected to the market. They're that dumb. They're that far removed from reality. It's that much of an echo chamber. And it seems to me that the owners of these companies don't care themselves, or perhaps they're caught up in an ideological cult or fad where it's like, we got to prove diversity. Why? So we can get more people to buy it. Why do you want more people? So we can make money. But it's now proven to be a money-losing strategy. So I would just, in other words, all this is falling on deaf ears. I would say 85% of the people who work in these fields don't understand losses. They really don't understand, like, yeah, you need money to work. It's like fuel. And even some of the owners, I think, are so caught up in being politically correct and doing the right thing that they will gladly throw away their empire, probably because the ultimate owners never really had to work or build up the empire in the first place. And at the end of the day, every American gets a shit product with fucking politics we never asked for, and you don't get a ghosted. You even see, just to show you how we're out again. Hang on, just give me a second. Give me a second. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from. All right. Oh, what is it, Cox? Come on, Cox Internet. Oh. Cox Internet, everybody. Wow. Come on. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Oh, no. All right. I'm going to go through super chats. We got them. Nothing is too expensive when it comes to saving. Is too expensive when it comes to saving. Yeah, I think you have some ideologues all the way up the food chain on this one, that the whole system is going to come crashing down. And then they'll just get pissed off. But to show you how ideologically pissed off they are, go look at any time there's like a pretty girl. I think a larger percent, not all of it, of course, but I think a significant contingent of these woke, mentally ill, fucking Christ cocks. This is what there must be some Marxist ideologues at Cox Communication too. Just look at how much of a hatred there is for anything pretty, for any pretty girls. There's a contingent there. Evan M, 10 Canadian. There's a goggle of women with Ivy League degrees and 100K in debt who tell similar companies, if you don't hire me, I'll make sure you get sued for discrimination. That's what's happening here. Yeah. And then you gotta tell them, like, now fuck you. A $250 million loss isn't worth the lawsuit. Look, you guys keep voting for it, not me, but the big corporate America. Oh my God, let's just suck diversity's dick. And then, I'm not saying don't help all minorities or women, hire the best person. Oh my God, meritocracy. But you brought this in on yourselves. Oh my God, look at this. The redheaded adopted stepchild nobody wanted with special needs. $20 in honor of my second Hawaiian trip I just booked right now for this upcoming Monday. I present to you Poke Bowl money. Thank you, John. Thank you. Everyone, please subscribe to Modern Life Dating. He's got courses out there if you're interested in dating dark girls. Big George Costanza, $2. Best economics and finance books other than yours. Basic Economics, Tom Sowell. Economics in One Lesson by Hazlitt. Wealth of Poverty by George Gilder. Dave Ramsey, he's good. Total Money Makeover. Not bad. Good book. Otherwise, that'd be about it. Jimmy Rivera, $5. If they follow the comics, Amber won't be around much longer. Also, all the sequels SBI worked on are worse than their predecessors story-wise. SBI, Sweet Baby Incorporated. Okay. All the sequels that we worked on are worse than their predecessors story-wise. Did they work on Invincible? Just so you know, I know Invincible is good, but the woke shit still bothers me. I know there's a turd in the punch bowl, but it's way down there at the other end of the punch bowl. There's still a turd in the punch bowl. And it does have an effect whether I watch it or not. Even Loudermilk, where the girl with the mutilated face, I don't know if the actress actually has a mutilated face or they just did that. I don't give a shit. That I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to tune into Loudermilk anymore. Garrett Howard, $2. Cappy's OnlyFans name would be the Lesbian Falcon. I would identify as such. JJ Sedton, $10. I was watching a video about a guy complaining that the suburbs he grew up in are no longer have children playing in the street. I kind of reminded him about the 2008 housing crisis. No more kids playing. Well, there was also, I will admit, the internet and video games had a role in that. They prefer to do that. And then, you can play. Come on. I'm sorry, guys. It's Cox Community. Right. Does this work? Thank you. A Dr. Paradox, $2. Heads up, HR 7521 TikTok ban. I'm for it. I don't give a shit if it's against the freedoms. I'm for it. They just set up. No, get rid of TikTok. It's fucking talk. I mean, it's not gonna stop anything. Girls aren't all of a sudden gonna get rid of their tattoos and stop acting like a bunch of morons. I'd be okay if it was gone. All right, that's it. Link below. Enjoy the decline, accepting living with the death of the United States. Also related because, dude, you have no idea how many stupid people are out there and in positions of power. All right. The curse of the high IQ. For those of you who don't understand why people let this happen, why they're okay with a $250 million loss, go read Curse of the High IQ. Dr. Paradox, $2. Can we go fund me like 20 Starlinks for Cappy? Yeah, you don't see the back office. This is the easy part. The back office is a nightmare where just, you don't need to know. It's just calling people, being on customer service, all this fucking bullshit, getting everything set up. Oh yeah, it doesn't work. So that's it. All right. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.